Festive Ace.
Got the festive knife.
I'm a festive mother flip-flop. Welcome to the Gore Club Podcast, everybody. I'm Steve Vessel.
I'm Ace.
And this is our holiday special.
Dun dun.
We got festive. Dun dun.
Dun
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 dun.
dun 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 dun. So I guess, man, let's talk about what the fuck we just did this weekend.
Had a big Felissa Rose come into town.
Yeah, it was cool. And thank you all for tuning in to the live stream over on the Facebook page, the Louisville Gore Club Facebook page. It means a lot to creators when people get in and chime in and tell us we suck or tell us something sounds good or bad. And guess what? Guess who forgot to plug in the microphones that night?
This guy.
But it sounded okay. I thought, dude, I have heard some awful podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched.
Sounds like you're in a tin can.
Some awful podcasts.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. But, I mean, ours sounded okay. When we did the Lenny Quigley live stream, I thought that sounded worse because it was one of the first times we did a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And I remember we were asking her questions, and then Ace and Deathmetal Dave were like, so what's going on? And she's like,
huh?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to freaking relay their questions to her. Anyways, it was a mess, but this was less of a mess. And that's good. And the Jason Leigh Howden one was fucking perfect. So,
Oh, yeah.
shit, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, and sometimes you just... I get nothing else.
You just fly by the seat of your pants.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, so I don't know, man. We had a good time. I haven't been that unsober in a long time.
Yeah.
They are some partiers, Dave Sheridan and Felissa Rose. So if you don't know what we're talking about, Felissa Rose is from Sleepaway Camp. She did Return to Sleepaway Camp. She's in the knockoff version of The Nun. So they've done so many movies together, like 30 fucking movies. He's in Ghost World, which is one of my favorites, by the way.
Yeah, that's great.
I forgot to bring my friggin' copy of Ghost World for him to sign, and I found it for tonight so I could just be mad at myself?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I'm mad.
There was two things I meant to ask him about, which was he was in two different Red Hot Chili Peppers music videos.
Oh, man.
that I remember, not that I'm like a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but like the one he was in was always on TV when I was in college, and I probably saw it like 100 times, just like flipping through MTV randomly. So then I was going through his IMDb and saw that on there, and I was like, holy shit, he was that cab driver in the By the Way video.
Okay, I was going to ask which one was it?
By the Way. And there was, By the Way. By the way, then it's like bebop, boop, bop, California.
Oh, it's Chili Pepper Scat.
That's the whole song.
Chili Pepper Scat. Not scat, like jazz scat, but chili. Fuck me. Okay, anyway. Yeah, man, they were a blast. We had a really good time, man. We had some issues, but with like photo ops, but you know what? You did really well. And Deathmetal Dave got to dress up in the original fucking screen-used mask from Scary Movie.
Oh, yeah. He couldn't see shit, but he was in there.
I don't care, like you son of a bitch.
I kept looking over, and he was like, they were like just pointing him, like, and he had that phone. And he was like, point me to the way. Like,
yes. So he had like a replica knife and then a phone from like the 90s. It wasn't just exactly like the one, but it didn't matter. But yeah, he was awesome. I'm like, I can't tell if you're smiling. He's like, I'm not. He was so sweaty.
Yeah.
That fucking ruled, man. But I got to hold that mask, and people are like, oh, it's no big deal. It's because, you can buy those Was Up masks now for like $8 at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And when I picked it up, I was like, oh, that's right. They actually had to fucking make this. Like, you could see like the acrylic paint was on there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was heavy. Oh, man. This isn't, this is like watching watching Scream and noticing the K&B mask that K&B production, like the special effects company, made for Scream before they could get the license for the Ghostface mask. There's a couple of scenes, and it looks completely different, by the way, than the one they use 100 times after that.
Oh, yeah.
It's got squintier eyes. If you see the Fonz scene, the Henry Winkler scenes, those are all the K&B masks when he first kills CJ. What the hell's her name? God damn it.
I can't remember.
It's okay. It's called editing. Drew Barrymore's character.
Yes.
Most of those scenes are with that mask. So except for when he actually is looking down at her, getting ready to stab her, then you see the Ghostface mask that they got licensed from Fun World.
Fun World.
Yeah, and we had a fun time. So, anyways, I guess we're going to
It
do
was
like
fun.
holiday movies.
Holiday kind of, some of them are traditional holiday movies for me. Some of them are not so traditional ones that you may think.
We're on a budget.
Yes.
This is on my YouTube. This is public domain, so don't sue us. You can't. Motherfuckers.
Is this you singing?
Yes, it is. It's me. Actually, it's Deathmetal Dave, and then he died after doing it. That's why he's here tonight. All right. No, I was looking at all these awful fucking like public domain Christmas songs. I've never heard this version before.
The best, my favorite Christmas song is On the Warm Side of the Door.
Oh, is that? I don't know if that's public domain.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's probably not, but now that ever since I saw that movie, every time Christmas rolls around, I put on that Silent Night, Deadly Night soundtrack and listen to that like warm side of the door.
I wish I could get like the King Diamond, No Presents for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
All right, I'm turning this shit off.
I got Slasher Dave from Acid Witch. He does a lot of kind of like John Carpenter-esque synth music.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's really awesome. And he just put out another like lo-fi Christmas album, and it has a bunch of samples from Home Alone in it. So you kind of have these like beats, and then it's just like,
is that legal?
It's got him.
We don't know.
It's got little Kevin McAllister's voice in there.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's just mainly the kid puking up all the pizza at the beginning of the movie.
Oh my god,
that's pretty good.
The thing about Acid Witch is they're awesome. If you don't know who the hell we're talking about, how would you describe Acid Witch? Because they're not just as normal one genre band.
It's kind of like, I don't want to call it like doom metal, but it's kind of like
sludgy.
Yeah,
like Halloween mixed with sludge.
Yeah, it's like they like are encased in concrete, and then like every October they just like dig them out and like chip them out of the ice, and they're like, put a Halloween album out.
They have the best merch, and they didn't bring any.
Yeah, they're great.
They have amazing merchandise for their band, and we had them in town for our Louisville Krampus celebration. They drove down from Detroit, and they kicked fucking ass. But I remember looking at the merch table going like, fuck. Damn it, Dave.
Yeah.
But whatever, man. It took a whole day just to drive down here, so I'm not going to give them too much shit. And they put on an amazing show, and they were the last band of the night after like a 9-hour or an 8-hour show, plus driving.
Oh, yeah.
I'll cut you some slack. But fuck it, man. Also, this weekend I got Felissa to sign this shitty Ghostface Fun World, not even close to a replica Ghostface knife. And then I got Dave Sheridan to kind of scribble his name on there. And it looks like I would have a better chance of reading it if it was Braille.
Yeah.
I think it just says Phil Dave.
Phil Dave.
Phil Dave. X's and O's. But before we get going, I have a gift for you. And don't tell me, I give out gifts.
A gift.
This is a Black Christmas beer koozie. Because I don't know if you knew that, but Ace drinks burr.
I like the beer from time to time.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I would give credit to whoever made that, but I bought that so many moons ago.
Oh, nice.
When I was a young alcoholic.
It can replace my worn out zombie attack.
Oh, yeah.
From that I have in my
the
pocket. The
Louisville zombie attack. Yeah. At one time, one of the largest zombie walks in the United States.
Yeah.
And boy, it fell apart because of politics.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, don't go into business with your friends, people. Just a hint. But let's talk about these fucking holiday movies, man.
The holidays.
The holiday season. Let's see. I actually just pulled up a whole bunch of crap from like Wikipedia and a couple other websites, but mostly Wikipedia because, it's easy.
Yeah.
And if it's not true, I don't care.
Yeah.
So who knew? The first fucking horror movie, holiday movie for Christmas, probably ever, if I remember, if I looked at the list and I actually gave a shit, but I'm doing my best here, is Scrooge or The Marley's Ghost.
Yeah.
1901.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't, I mean, wow, like you, whoa.
1901.
Yeah. 1901 British short silent drama directed by Walter R. Booth, featuring the miserly Ebenezer Scrooge, played by Daniel Smith, confronted by Jacob Marley's ghost and given visions of Christmas. And if you don't know the Christmas Carol story,
yeah,
you're probably stupid.
If you've never, it's probably the most done to death story of all time. Yeah. I don't know anything else where somebody has just every TV show, every everything has just used Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol in everything. And like, even if you've never read the book, like there's something from that movie that you've probably seen like referenced on a show or movie that you like.
Right. And the original title for A Christmas Carol is actually A Christmas Carol, period, in prose, period, being a ghost of Christmas. That's the full fucking title for this novella.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool because, I mean, that's actually, it's a ghost story.
Yeah.
We're so used to seeing this shit on, like you said, like every television show, every Comedy Central fucking special, The Simpsons, everything is done something Christmas story. And you just kind of forget that it's actually a ghost story. And for that time, it was pretty fucking horrific.
Yeah.
Freaking horrific.
Yeah, it's like your, dead friends are like coming to visit you in like 1800s. It's pretty scary.
So the second horror holiday film, Christmas that is The Right to Be Happy. And guess what? Also based on A Christmas Carol. Who knew?
Of course, it was the only Christmas thing ever written until like 1935.
Right. Fuck off. Is The Devil Doll. Now, The Devil Doll, I thought it was interesting when I looked it up. It's actually directed by a Louisville native, Todd Browning, who directed Dracula, Freaks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's more of a thriller, but whatever. It's like, okay, The Devil Doll, 1936, a horror film directed by Todd Browning and starring Lionel Barrymore. We just talked about Drew. And Maureen O'Sullivan. My tongue-tied. Here we go. The film was adapted from the novel Burn, Witch, Burn by Abraham Merritt. It's become a cult film.
Nice. I got the famous Barrymore in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, he and Todd Browning worked together a couple of times.
Oh, nice.
They worked on Mark of the Vampire, which is his own remake of the Lon Chaney Lost Vampire film.
Yeah.
London After Midnight.
London After Midnight. Called.
Yeah. And so it's, I don't know, I looked at the synopsis. It's not very Christmassy, so I didn't really look into it.
Yeah.
Don't look at me. I got Christmas Holiday, Curse of the Cat People. Have you ever seen that one?
I'm aware of Cat People, the original, and then the remake in the 80s, but I think there was
the original.
Yeah.
Okay, so Val Lewton is the producer, and then directed by Gunther von Fritsch and Robert Weiss. Most people know Robert Weiss because of he did The Haunting and fucking West Side Story. If you look at his films, his repertoire, it's insane. Like he just didn't give a shit. I'll make a Western, I'll make a musical, I'll make a horror film that nobody will ever forget. The Haunting rules. And of course, The Cat People was one of those movies they didn't have a lot of money. Val Lewton was known to take just a really simple concept and just make it as magical as you could with the concept, with lighting and atmosphere and acting and directing. So you got Robert Weiss, and it's kicks ass. And it is a holiday movie.
A holiday movie.
Holiday season. Dead of Night. This is a movie called The Blast of Silence. I looked up a lot of these movies. They're more like thrillers or noir films, which I dig that genre.
Yeah.
But we're talking about horror films. And you don't really see a lot of that until the 70s.
Yep. And with that, you got the original Tales from the Crypt movie.
Yeah.
Which has the original and All Through the House in it.
Yeah. I love that. And, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I love anthology movies, and this is one of the first anthology films I've ever seen. And it's funny, when I was doing research for that film, or for tonight, I found Dead of Night. Now, I'd seen Dead of Night, but I didn't know it was this. This is actually it's actually it has a Christmas theme, and it's one of the first horror anthologies ever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Isn't that cool? Yeah. 1945 British anthology horror film. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Dead of Night, 1977. There's going through different kind of Dead of Nights. But the black and white British anthology horror film made by Ealing Studios. The individual segments were directed by a bunch of people, and it stars a bunch of people. And it's best remembered for concluding with feature story of Redgrave and some insane ventriloquist malevolent dummy.
A malevolent dumb.
Yeah, but
dummy.
Much like the Tales from the Crypt, it only has one story in it that makes it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into the argument that I was going to talk about, was what makes a fucking Christmas horror movie, or just a Christmas movie? This whole die-hard debate. I think it just keeps going because people like to argue.
Yeah. Some people would say, is like the actual holiday integral to the plot of the movie? Like, if you took that out of the movie, would it ruin the movie?
No.
So
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to me.
Edward Scissorhands will still be Edward Scissorhands if it was summertime.
Yeah.
Which there's scenes that whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, it looks like it's in summertime because it's in California and
Yeah.
don't realize. Doesn't get that feel until he makes it snow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Talking about Batman Returns. I mean, if we're going to stay on the Tim Burton thread, I don't know.
Which
man.
that is a Christmas movie.
It is. It rules.
Yeah.
Andrew Bryan Aronofsky before he became a dickhead.
Yeah. Hey, the program rules.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a really weird conversation, and some people get so heated. I'm like, why are there rules? Why are you telling some old punk rock dude rules about what makes what?
Yeah, there's like things that I write down. There's things that I wrote down that I don't even think Christmas is even mentioned in the movie, but because of like, maybe it's like the atmosphere, the weather in the movie. It's cold, it's snowy.
Let the right one in.
You know, yeah.
It's a fucking holiday Christmas movie.
Yeah, it makes it fun to watch in the holiday, like around a Christmas, you know.
Yeah, I can't remember the date on The Thing, or if they even give us a date on John Carpenter's The Thing, but it's one of those movies I watch in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the Quentin Tarantino with, they're out in the cabin. Hateful Eight.
God, it's amazing.
Like, I can only watch that if it's like real cold outside.
Oh, really?
It's like I could never watch that movie in the summer because it's just such a winter movie. Like, which it kind of is. Like, I could watch that one around Christmas and I'd be totally fine with it. Because it's cold, snowing. You know,
I've watched that about 4 times in the last 2 months because I watch movies when I fall asleep, and I found the extended version on, I think it was Tubi. And it's 4 hours long.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's so good though, and it actually gave me insomnia one night because I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. There's so many goddamn amazing horror films based on this holiday that I was surprised to see how many I hadn't seen compared to how many I know.
Yeah, there's one which I brought up, the Tales from the Crypt, which has your killer says all through the house, which is really like one of the first ones to have the killer Santa Claus in it.
I think so.
Which is weird because, you know, then there was like also Christmas Evil, but like it's like nobody saw any of those movies until Silent Night, Deadly Night came out. Which, don't mean to skip ahead, but it was like,
it doesn't matter.
You get on there and then people were like, this is the most insane thing that's ever happened to Christmas.
This is satanic.
And it's like, they've been putting movies out like this for 10 years at this point. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they've been doing scary Christmas movies. I mean, what is the thing about Santa? If we're going to talk about Killer Santa, because he's supposed to be maybe the embodiment of Christian Jesus?
It's this whole thing. It's like it's a wholesome thing for children, you know. But
dude, where have you all been?
Yeah, it's
we just talked about like movies that came out in 19 whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've got one called Who Slew Auntie Roo. Now I had to look this one up because I'd never seen it, and I was really interested because I love the what's it called, the slasher biddy movies. It's a subgenre.
Oh yeah,
the old people are the killers. And I'm going to read the synopsis on this. So whoever slew Auntie Roo, who also, the U.S. title is Who Slew Auntie Roo, is a 1972 horror thriller film directed by Curtis Harrington and starring Shelley Winters. I don't know why I said it like that. Based partly on the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, the film focuses on a demented American widow living in her husband's English manor who becomes obsessed with a young orphan girl who resembles her dead daughter. It sounds kind of like something I would fall asleep to.
Well, there's also, you got Silent Night, Bloody Night, which I don't know if you've ever bought one of those like 100 movie packs or 50 horror movie packs. It's in every single one of them. It's like the most biggest public domain movie ever.
It was never registered in the United States Copyright Office. That's why it's public domain.
Yeah.
And anyone can show it. So if you're like into horror, if you're like horror hosts on either on YouTube or there's still like some guys that do it late night on cable access and things like that. Cable access. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they always show this movie.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Yeah. I watched it once.
It's so bad.
I have no memories of it at all.
It stars not Eileen Warnoff. Mary Warnoff.
Mary Warnoff, not Eileen Warnos, which that one time.
That one episode where I was like, it stars a serial killer, and everybody just got real quiet like, I don't think so, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stars Mary Warnoff, and I remember that episode, and everyone was just like...
We're like, yeah, Eileen Warnos. She was...
God damn it. I just swallowed some fur.
Killing Johns and starring in movies.
Well, this one movie, I was super excited because I was like, oh, this is like $1 movie, and I can watch it. And I was pretty young when I found it on they actually used to release those on VHS collections.
Yeah.
I think I've got one somewhere. on this wall of hell. But it was on there, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great, and it's not.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
Yeah, I watched it one time. Like I said, I don't even know what happened to it.
Yeah.
I just lost interest immediately.
The 1972 American slasher film directed by Theodore Gershney and co-produced by Lloyd Kaufman. The film stars Patrick O'Neill and the cult actress Mary Warnoff in leading roles. John Carradine. The plot follows a series of murders that occur in a small New England town on Christmas Eve after a man inherits a family estate which was once an insane asylum. What's another one I liked? I actually this is one I had not seen, so I'm kind of interested to talk about these, or at least because I want to make a stamp and then go back and watch them.
Yeah.
So this one I was really excited about. And it's probably going to suck, but who cares? It's called Home for the Holidays, 1972 film. Home for the Holidays, American-made for television slasher film, which is interesting to me because it reminds me of He Knows You're Alone. Those kind of movies. Yeah. Directed by John Elwyn Moxie and produced by Aaron Spelling.
Aaron Spelling.
You know it's good.
90210, na 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 na.
With Sally Field and Julie Harris. Now, Julie Harris was in The Haunting. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
It premiered on ABC on November 18th, 1972. The plot focuses on a wealthy father on his deathbed who invites his 4 daughters home for Christmas. I'm falling asleep just reading this.
Yeah.
And tells them he suspects his second wife of poisoning him. Shortly after, the girls learn that their stepmother was accused of killing her first husband, and they begin to fall prey to a killer dressed in a yellow rain slicker. So like Alice, Sweet Alice meets Christmas, but none of that sounds Christmassy besides the plot, or the setting.
Yeah, well, it looks like it has Jessica Walter in it too, which that actually might be good. She was in Arrested. She was the mom in Arrested Development, so
that's cool.
She's hilarious.
Yeah. Going through this list, I've got I Forgot Frogs is a 4th of July movie. I love that movie.
Oh, The Bloody Exorcism of Coffin Joe.
Okay. We'll talk. Yeah, we'll skip over Black Christmas for right now. But this movie, by the way, I have seen this, and let me find it.
Well, I know I'm aware of Coffin Joe, like who he has kind of a trilogy, or he has a series of like Coffin Joe movies. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen them, but I'm aware of them. It's on my list of.
They put a collection out.
Yeah,
and they only consider like 4 of them to be Coffin Joe movies, even though he made this one too.
Yeah,
this is not considered a Coffin Joe part of like the Blind Dead movies.
Yeah.
You have like what is it the what's the one with the fucking seagulls whatever. Anyways, there's the galleon, ghost galleon, seagulls.
Yeah,
fuck me. Anyways, and this is one of him. He made himself. I don't know why it's not connected. It's probably explained on this long laundry list of shit, but it doesn't make it's not connected to the Coffin Joe trilogy, which are At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul, This Night I Will Possess Your Corpse, and The Embodiment of Evil. Those are the 3 Coffin Joe movies that most people know. If you're into these movies, I like these type of movies. It's kind of like if you're into Santos and the Blue Demon horror films, where they're Mexican like luchadors who solve crimes and fight monsters.
Yeah,
it's very campy. But that's kind of what it's supposed to be. Now, Coffin Joe can be fucking violent. And if you don't know who we're talking about, I'll try to give you an idea what he looks like, and then you probably know. He is obviously not white, but he's got a beard, and he's extremely long white fingernails, and a top hat, and a Dracula cape.
Yeah.
Ring a bell? If not, oh well. Check it out. The Bloody Exorcism of Coffin Joe.
Yeah, I'm only aware of who Coffin Joe is because of the band Necrophagia. And they had like a whole song they wrote about him and everything, and I was like, I have to look up this Coffin Joe guy after they wrote a song about him. It must be great.
You know what? I'll say this, and if nobody agrees, I don't give a shit. It's kind of like the Crimson Ghost.
Yeah.
The imagery is iconic. It's gorgeous. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? It's just weird. You know, it looks vintage.
Yeah.
And then you go to actually watch the Crimson Ghost serials or movies, and they're like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think the Coffin Joe movies are boring, but I understand if people who don't dig them are going to be like, Steve, what the fuck, man? I hate your guts. I hate my guts too, baby. I hate them too. We got to go back to Black Christmas.
Oh, yeah, Black Christmas.
Also known as Silent Night, Evil Night.
Which we were earlier talking about people who did things all over the place, making different movies. Bob Clark did this movie, Porky's, and A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
which it's like 3 of the most completely different movies ever.
He also made one of my favorite Ripper movies, Murder by Decree, with Christopher Plummer, And that was made for television, but it was the first Ripper film that I remember that I can think of that was trying to say that it's the what's the dudes in the whatever they're called, what are they called? What's to do with the rings and they slide down the slide? It's not the Shriners, it's the other guys.
Oh, I don't know. Now I'm just thinking about the Shriners.
I get what to say Mormons, but they're way weirder than those guys. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Masons.
We were going to get through this, I promise. The Masons. It was one of the first movies that I remember had like the Freemasons as the villains who were actually the plot for the Ripper murders. And it was all being covered up by the government.
Yes.
Government would never try to do that.
No, never.
But back to Black Christmas.
Masons. Black Christmas. Bob Clark.
R.I.P. baby.
It's a classic. And it does the...
Thanks.
It is.
I hope you like it. I just gave you a fucking beer koozie.
But yeah, it's the everybody knows the babysitter and the call coming from upstairs.
This is the first movie.
That was the first movie who did that, even before When a Stranger Calls, which did the exact same thing years later. But
do you know? Check the children, all that stuff. The calls are coming in from the inside of the house.
Yeah,
we're not spoiling it. It's one of the oldest slasher.
Yeah,
it's the first holiday slasher movie that I could think of.
It's some even consider the first slasher movie, which probably inspired Halloween being starting holiday horror movies in general.
No, man, Silent Night, Bloody Night.
Silent Night, Bloody Night. That was the original. Thanks,
this movie is great. We could do a whole friggin' episode on Black Christmas.
Oh yeah,
I forgot to pull out my VHS of it.
Yeah, you could go this whole thing. It's like the cast is amazing. You got Margot Kidder, John Saxon.
Margot Kidder wanted to be drunk during the scenes that she was supposed to be drunk.
Yeah.
That's promise, baby.
You can tell.
It's dedication. You can tell?
Yeah.
When she's doing the whole fellatio
and
thing.
She's like just all over the place. Mm-hmm. Just kind of like, she's a little, a little loose.
Yeah, she's not doing the fellatio thing. She's talking about the word fellatio to a cop.
Yeah.
She's spelling it out. I should probably make that more. Now you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
But yeah, it's, I think people consider it like a feminist film because the woman, there's the whole like abortion debate between the girl and her boyfriend, and she's saying, this is my decision, which was like way ahead of its time in the 70s. Like,
yeah, women controlling their own bodies.
Yeah, that was insanely ahead of its. Like nobody was talking about that in movies in the 70s. So,
well, I was kind of disappointed they didn't bring that into the first remake that came out in 2006, I think.
Yeah, like Xmas.
Man,
which they did. I just cut the name off.
I don't hate that movie, but I don't need it. It was one of the first ones that I can think of that were like, let's tell everybody where Billy comes from and why there is Billy and how there is Billy.
Yeah,
and I fucking hated that.
Yeah, I've watched it once and I just didn't like it.
Gore is great. The lighting's fantastic. It's very reminiscent of the first film. It's the same guys who did the first Final Destination and the second season of Millennium made this.
Yeah.
And Disturbing Behavior. It's the same filmmakers. But we're talking about the remake of Black Christmas. The first remake. God, there's 3 of them.
There's one from 2019 also.
I hate this world.
I'm like, why?
But yeah, we could go on and on. But if you have not seen Black Christmas, not only would you just fuck the whole goddamn thing up, that you don't have to watch it at all. But it's a classic for a reason.
Oh yeah, every year. That's one I watch every year. Like as soon as those credits roll and you see Black Christmas and the snow's coming down, it's classic.
John Saxon
movie, yeah.
Which is the only autograph I ever got of his was and when I met him, he only had one little 8x10 black and white picture of him on the phone, and it said Black Christmas because it was like a lobby card version. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, nobody cares about that movie." I'm like, "Fuck everybody!"
Oh yeah.
So I got him to sign that.
Nice.
That's my Johnny Saxon.
Johnny Saxon.
I feel like I've played that, or I've said it before. I played said bid. Where are we going with this one, man?
They got Deep Red on here as a Christmas movie,
which
I've never even considered.
Also in the public domain.
Yeah.
You're going to jump over Night Train Turders. Night Train Turders.
Oh, yeah. The Night Train Murders.
Yeah.
The Night Train Murders is one that I've only really became aware of in the last few years. And I randomly watched it. When I first watched it, it was like around Christmas. It was like December 15th or something. And I was like, well, I've had this movie for a while. Let's watch Night Train Murders. And then they're getting on a train and it's fucking Christmas. And I was like, holy shit, this is a Christmas movie. And Night Train Murders, which is also known as Last Stop on the Night Train, which I also call Last House on the Left on a Train, which is basically what the plot is the Italians, they like to take a popular movie and kind of make it their own.
Yeah.
So they took Last House on the Left, put it on a train, made a great movie. It's one of the video nasties that came out at the time, so it had a lot of controversy surrounding it. But there is some scenes on it where you're like, oh yeah, I get why this was like a video nasty, because they're on the train. There's like some sexual assault, which also happens in Last House on the Left. So it's kind of the same as that, but has a really good ending, good revenge. The killers get what's coming to them. Yeah, so
that's cool.
It's good.
We'll come back to Last House on the Left in a couple of movies too, actually. But Deep Red.
Yeah.
Deep Red, man. Argento.
It's got that little baby in it laughing. The little
doll.
baby face, the doll.
Also known as Profondo Rosso, also known as The Hatchet Murders. This is also a movie that is public domain that we are actually going to show in January here in Louisville. We're having a screening of it. But it's an Italian thriller giallo film. That's not a slasher movie, it's a giallo, which is Italian slasher movies, but there's a whole subgenre called giallo that we fucking love.
Yeah.
And this is one of the masters of that subgenre, Dario Argento.
And it has an amazing soundtrack.
It does. All of his early movies do, man.
Yeah.
Even if Goblin isn't a part of the soundtracks of his early films, the soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah, every time.
So now back to All a Good Night. We're just talking about, we're going to bring you guys back to Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
This is directed by David Hess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. David Hess is Krug.
From Last House on the Left.
Last House on the Left, which is actually where they got the name Freddy Krueger, his last name.
Yeah.
It's a Wes Craven movie.
Yeah.
This is not. This is directed by David Hess.
He's like, I'm going you to piss your pants.
Oh,
that guy.
God. So To All a Good Night is a 1980 American slasher film directed by David Hess and starring Jennifer Runyon and Forrest Swanson. Its plot follows a group of female finishing school students and their boyfriends being murdered during a Christmas party by a psychopath dressed as Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
I'm going to use the sharp edge.
Oh, God, that's
Sharp
even
Edge
worse.
Steve.
I don't know which one's worse.
Going to put this right here by my crotch for a phallic symbol. Jesus. I'm getting in so much trouble for this episode.
I heard a story about David Hess, I guess around the time that Last House on the Left came out. He was saying he was on I heard a story about it. He was on a subway in New York, and he was just kind of sitting there. And at the time, I think a lot of people saw that movie, and they were like, I'm not sure if this is not real or if this is real. Like
the way that movie was filmed,
yeah. And he just said he was on a subway, and he just looked up, and like literally, like everyone had just like kept moving farther and farther away from him because they recognized him from the movie.
Yeah, man, that movie's notorious.
And he looks like the creepiest dude ever, but I've heard he's just like a really nice guy.
Christmas Evil. I don't know why I said it like that. I get Christmas Evil. By the way, I hear notifications going off. You're so unprofessional. I'm kidding.
I can do it.
I really don't care.
Turn them down.
So Christmas Evil.
Christmas Evil.
This is one that most people talk about. They know now. You're also known as You Better Watch Out and Terror in Toyland. A 1980 American slasher film written and directed by Lois Jackson and starring Brandon McGart.
Yeah.
Probably Maggart.
Yeah. Which this movie is kind of, I think we talked about this the other day, where it's kind of depressing.
God damn it.
When you watch it, like it's kind of like this guy, you're just watching this guy like kind of fall into this like depression and kind of deal with mental illness. And then all of a sudden there's just Killer Santa Claus.
Yeah, you can actually find this for free right now on YouTube.
Yeah. It's, and I guess this movie had a resurgence, or not even really a resurgence. I think just John Waters was famous for saying this is one of his favorite movies. And I think that was probably one of the things that really made people like, well, if he likes it, maybe I should watch it, like.
It's sometimes all it takes is like Evil Dead and Stephen King.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't a resurgence, but he helped push it out.
Yeah.
Like, who was it? I cannot remember who reevaluated Halloween. And I want to say Pauline Kael, but I can't remember. But somebody from the Village Voice was like, no, this movie's actually really, really good, and you should go back and look at it. And then it was just like, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah.
And while it was still in the theaters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happens, man. A lot of also at this time, movies were not getting released like they are now.
Oh yeah.
Even a shitty release is like a 3-day release now, from like Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Because they gotta make way for the big blockbuster Disney movie.
Oh yeah. It's Yeah, if you ever go back and just look at like how many like movies released in like 1980, and like it'll just be like a reasonable list of movies, but it's like every year like it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. If you just looked up movies released in like 2021,
holy shit,
like it's an insane amount of movies that you could no way you would ever be able to watch. But like back in the day, you could feasibly probably go to the movies and see almost every movie that was released that year because they were just released in theaters.
That's what you listen to people like Joe Dante, the director of Gremlins, also a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
talks about that. Like he just lived at the movies, and they would just skip school and stay there all day and just watch the movies. But still, it's like 3 movies. That week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you just skip around from theater to theater. Yeah.
Maniac is a Christmas movie.
I guess so.
Oh, it is.
Like it's been a minute since I watched it.
Oh, it is. It is, sir. It is.
Maniac. That's another good movie. I love Maniac. I've never even thought about it being a Christmas movie though.
Yeah, I mean there's Christmas lights everywhere. I mean, he's not celebrating it.
No, yeah.
This is one of those movies.
It's kind of in the background. Yeah,
it's not integral to the movie.
Yeah, this probably has one of the best head explosions in a movie ever.
Yeah,
probably top 5 for me.
That they all kind of came out in the same time as like Scanners.
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead. What's the other one you think is good? See, none is important.
No. Chopping Mall.
Chopping. Oh yeah. A few years later, but fucking still amazing.
Yeah, great head explosion.
Bill Lustig made Maniac, and he is one of those people. It's like Henenlotter. They just they were New York people who understood the underground, knew they could film the guerrilla film. They could film guerrilla style.
Yeah,
and get away with it, and knew how to make a movie.
Yeah. This is like one of those New York movies where you watch it and you're like, it's like New York pre-Giuliani before he like Disney-fied everything.
Yeah.
So it's like gritty and disgusting. Like I would see this New York when I was a kid in like movies and TV shows and be like, I'd never want to go to New York.
It looked terrifying.
Like, it looks like a nightmare.
The Howling made me think New York was for like monsters.
Yeah. I was just like growing up watching stuff from the 80s. I'm like, I don't ever want to go to New York. This looks terrifying.
Let's see. Alexander Aja did he's the producer of the remake, and I really, really, really enjoyed that. It's the one with Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It's all like POV, and the soundtrack is so freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And there is one scene that he's looking at a reflection of himself, and it's like it's like the movie poster from the first film.
Yeah.
Those little goofy things like that I just love.
Yeah. Plus Joe Spinell.
Yeah.
Just a sweaty, just like intense dude.
Carolyn Monroe too.
Yeah.
They got her, and I was like, how did they just lie to her and put her in this movie? She is like, how the hell did they get her?
Yeah.
Carolyn Monroe, it was a big, huge name, especially in the 70s.
Yeah, for sure. It was the dorm that dripped blood.
The dorm that dripped blood. Now, I tried to find the movie, excuse me, this week to rewatch it, and I just couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was going to buy it on Amazon. I was like, fuck it, man. But I haven't seen this since it's been so long. I don't remember even the plot. What you got? You read the plot.
The plot. Let's see. The film opens with a young man. That would tell you the entire plot of the movie. Yeah, this was a video nasty, so it can't be that bad. Film.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a video nasty. That could be. It had somebody hated it enough to get it off there. So
yeah.
4 college students stay on campus over Christmas holiday to clear out a dormitory where an unknown assailant begins stalking them.
Woo.
Sounds good. It's got a killer poster too. I think that's what I've seen that poster like a million times and stuff, and I'm always like, I should watch that movie, and then I never watch it because there's another movie that kind of sounds like there's some other old 70s dorm horror movie that I kind of always get it confused with, and I'm like,
I think I've Sorority Row.
Maybe it was that,
film.
Yeah.
And then there's The House That Dripped Blood.
Maybe I'm thinking of The House That Dripped Blood.
Yeah, I think that's an Amicus film, and when you that's actually happened to me when I was typing in the words. I was like, no, damn it. It's The Dorm That Dripped Blood. And then it kept popping up House that Dripped Blood.
Yeah. That's another one of those where they kind of have similar titles, and I always think that I've seen it before. Kind of like Witch Trap. I always think, I'm like, there's Witch Trap and there's also Witch Board, and I get them both of them confused. I own one of them, never can remember which one I own.
There's Witchcraft.
So Witchcraft. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those.
I guess my next one really is Don't Open Till Christmas.
Don't open.
Don't open till Christmas.
Well, there's one they list on here, Blood Beat, which is one of my Vinegar Syndrome movies I bought.
Oh, sweet.
That I literally just got in the mail like 2 days ago, and I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. The movie poster looks amazing.
Yeah. And it sounded insane when I read the description of it, and a lot of people said it's one of those like so bad it's good movies. So I was like, I have to get this. But
you should get really fucked up and watch that movie.
I think I'll definitely be watching it because I'm off work.
I'll be watching it.
I'll be watching them. The plot, it's a young couple attending a family gathering for Christmas in a rural home when a spirit wearing samurai armor begins killing members of the family, 2 of whom have psychic abilities, and their neighbors. If that doesn't make you want to watch that movie, I don't know what wouldn't. But yeah, Christmas, samurai armor, all that. I read that and I was like, oh shit, that's got to be good.
We got to have like a screening. I wonder if it's a public domain.
I don't know.
You said Vinegar Syndrome?
Vinegar Syndrome put out a copy of that recently, and I literally just got it in the mail. I'll be watching it this weekend.
If it was Synapse, I could probably wing that screening live for everybody at a theater. But Vinegar Syndrome, I don't really know them.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got Don't Up Until Christmas. And here's the thing: is like the 1984, 83, and 85 were just packed.
Yeah.
Do we just like run through these, or because most people know Gremlins, 1984 Gremlins.
Yeah.
Don't Up Until Christmas, 1984. Silent Night, Deadly Night.
And it's not like
1984.
It's kind of like it's weird that they all came out
by accident
at the same time like that. Because you got 3 movies all in the same year, Christmas horror movies.
Yeah.
That had to have come out around the same time. Because, Don't Open Till Christmas, December 19th. And then you got Gremlins, which came out.
I think that was the summer.
Oh, June 8th.
Yeah,
wow.
it was summer release.
I didn't even realize that. I always thought that was old. Because when Gremlins comes on, it's like they're playing Gremlins. Christmas! The Ronettes are playing. Yeah. It's the most Christmas opening ever. I could never just be in like, walk in, it's 85 degrees outside, and you walk into the movie theater, sit down, and you hear the Ronettes singing a Christmas song. Yeah. It's just such a weird thing. I never even pictured that it'd come out in June.
Well, okay, so that's another film that if it wasn't for being set in Christmas, I know it's a gift to Billy.
It's integral to the plot of the movie.
Is it though?
Yeah, because
it could be his fucking birthday.
Well, yeah, but
birthday.
I think all the Christmas stuff fits in so good with it because they're like singing carols, like all the Gremlins are like in their little outfits.
Those scenes are great. Okay,
in the snow, and
you're gonna have that. My dad's dead Santa in the
the Santa story. Coming down the chimney. Yeah. It's if you took that out of it, I don't think the movie would be as good.
You're right. Thank you, Joe Dante.
Which is proof because they made many Gremlins ripoff movies that are just terrible.
I love Ghoulies. Munchies.
Ghoulies, Munchies, yeah.
1984, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Ooh, the best.
Yeah, and we did an entire episode on the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise last season, so we're going to skip over that.
Yeah.
Trancers, a lot of people kind of forget that this is a Christmas sci-fi horror film, really. It's got Jack Death.
Deth.
DETH.
So it's
kind of like it was during that time when people were trying to rip off Blade Runner and didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So it starts like, I'm in the future, but we don't have the money, so all of a sudden we're going to go to the past.
Yeah, I love that.
We're in LA, and all of a sudden it's 1984.
I love those low budget time travel type movies where they're like, we're in the future for 30 seconds at the beginning, and now all of a sudden I'm in the present.
Yeah, Mark Hamill made like a whole bunch of those.
Yeah,
and it was like Full Moon, all those guys. This is
Charles Band.
This is a Charles Band movie. But like they just made a whole bunch of those kind of movies. Like Nemesis is like it's kind of in the future, but we're just gonna film it in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Even Cyborg is just like we're just gonna find some sort of mill to film all of this.
Yeah. It's
by the way, rest in peace, Albert, the director of Cyborg.
Cyborg, wasn't that the leftover? That was leftover from when Kanan was going to make a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
and they used all the sets from that. That's insane. Yeah. They were like, we got the sets. I don't know, Future, Van Damme, fuck it. Like,
Fuck it.
I mean, that's the
Transfers has one of my favorite musical numbers of all time from the 80s. It's just like this band that reminds me of the punk rock band The Exploited singing Jingle Bells.
oh no.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. It's just like, and then Jack Death gets in there and starts bumping around, and some guy bumps into him, and he doesn't know what's going on, so he just knocks him out. And what's her name? Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt.
She's really young, and all of a sudden Jack Death, she's kind of just dancing over the guy's knocked out body. She's like, I'm gonna fuck this guy.
Punk rocker Helen Hunt.
Yeah, she's got like one strip of color in her hair.
Yeah, that makes her a punk rock kid.
Yeah.
You also got Art LaFleur, which is one of my favorite actor names ever. Art LaFleur. Really, he's one of those like, oh, that guy in movies that you always see all the time.
Oh, like Bud Flower.
Yeah, he's just like, he's been in like literally like every 80s and 90s TV show ever. He played the ghost of Babe Ruth in The Sandlot.
Oh, yeah, he's dead too. Fuck.
Yeah, so if you ever see him, you're always like, oh, that guy. Yeah, he has a that guy face.
There's not a whole lot of, at least on this list, there are movies like we're talking about that are, it's like not really integral to the part. But not until 1987 is what I see, Silent and Deadly Night Part 2. So technically the same fucking movie.
Yeah, same movie again.
1987, Silent and Deadly Night Part 2.
Garbage Day.
Yeah, it's the only thing people
that's
care
the only
about.
thing you would. Yeah, that's all you need to know from that. Garbage Day.
We were just talking about that at Gore Club last Sunday, the actual Gore Club, and holy shit, it's just the same movie with a couple of scenes and it's Captain Eyebrow.
Yeah, I have it, and if I watch it, I usually just skip the first 45 minutes and watch the end of it from there.
Well, it's like once you get to the scene where they're in the movie theater, and he's getting jealous.
Yeah.
That's when you start watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's less flashbacks.
Yeah.
But it's just another movie. Another way to cut costs is just put an old movie, the same movie in this movie, and be like, I remember what Billy told me.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But the point of view of me is exactly what Billy saw.
Yeah. We talked about all that in our episode.
I know.
Where he's just like, he's having memories of stuff that he wasn't even there for. Just like the mom in Jaws 4 when she has a memory of her husband shooting a shark when she wasn't even there.
I've got the brain.
The brain.
Yeah. A Canadian science horror film depicting a giant brain-like alien that terrorizes. That's it. The film has developed a small cult following. 1988, The Brain. If you know what I'm talking about, the movie poster is like that big, huge face. Yeah, it's not really a brain. It's just eyes with teeth and stuff. It's hilarious. It kind of reminds me of the American Werewolf in London werewolf, like the David Naughton werewolf. Yeah.
I have this movie. I've watched it once and can't remember much about it except for a big, giant brain like kind of floating around.
Yeah, you can imagine the name there, but it's a big monster brain. Deadly Dreams. I've never seen it.
Deadly Dreams. I have this movie too, and I've watched it once, and I remember it not being bad. It's considered a psychological horror movie.
Oh,
it's a lot. Yeah, it's like I was gonna say, it's about dreams, but yeah, it's called Deadly Dreams. Yeah, it has that weird part. It has that guy in the front of the poster wearing the fox mask, which stood out to me. The only reason I bought it, I found like a.
Okay, Steve, go ahead.
I found a VHS rip of it and I just saw the cover and I was like, oh, I remember seeing it on the shelf. I should buy that and watch it. And didn't really stick, but I'll probably watch it again sometime.
That sounds
It's not
great.
terrible.
What a great review.
It's a great review.
That's a great review. Let's just jump to elves.
Throw it back to you, Gene Siskel.
Let's just talk about elves, which everyone needs to see. It's definitely come back. I think it's on Tubi.
Oh, yeah. It's probably on YouTube.
Yeah. We both own a copy from the VHS Society.
Yeah. Which is basically the only way you can get any copy of it. I don't think nobody's ever put it out, which I don't understand why. It has like a cult following. I mean, somebody put out fucking Bloodbeat on Blu-ray, like a nice Blu-ray, and they can't put out Elves on Blu-ray.
Well, I mean, okay, describe. I think we've talked about this before. We always
have a really good description.
No, of VHS.
Oh, VHS.
I'm adjusting our beautiful decorations.
VHS PS is the VHS Preservation Society.com, which they will make a DVD copy of a VHS tape that you already own, which is legal to do. So if you own it, you can say, hey, I would like a copy of this, and they'll make a copy and put it on a DVD for you.
Yeah.
And that's how they do that.
I don't know how that becomes legal.
That's illegal because you agree that you own the movie.
That's true.
And you wouldn't just go to a website and say, I don't actually own the movie, but I'm going to buy a copy of this on DVD. That would be dishonest.
Well, I love it because it still has the trailers in the back, the front, and then sometimes they're in the back, and it might have like a full moon. What was the video zone? So
Oh, yeah.
all these little things that are gone. Because I remember watching Monster Squad, and at the beginning of that is a trailer for The Unholy, which is not a kids movie at all.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
I forget, one of my VHS has the Revenge of the Jedi trailer on it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's another thing where you... I think there was like a copy of maybe Carnosaur that you would get on VHS, and it had the trailer for the Fantastic Four at the beginning of it.
Oh, wow.
Which was the Roger Corman Fantastic Four that never got released.
Right, actually, VHS PS has that.
Yeah, and I have a copy of that too that I bought at a flea market. Not from them, but I bought it at a flea market from a guy. It's amazing.
Yeah, I bought mine at a convention called Vet City Con in Kentucky. And it was, at the time, it was run by the guys who do Plot 13. They do all the replica signs at horror conventions like Horror Hound, Days of
Oh, yeah, those are great.
Yeah, it's Dead Dick Hammer is the band, and then he started making replica signs of like, oh, you want the sign from Amityville Horror? High Hopes. I've got one. He does perfect replica Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake signs.
Yeah.
Like the ones from the movie. The perfect structure, perfectly hand painted. It's Casey and Mike. We love you. So that's all I got.
What we got? Elves?
Elves.
I have a description. I have my own description of elves that I wrote down here.
Grizzly Adams rules. Nazis suck. That's all mine. That's all I
got pagan rituals, elves, shopping mall, crazy mother, pervert brother, Nazis, incest, virginity, and Grizzly Adams. All of those things are in the movie, and they all connect somehow.
God damn.
They couldn't just be like, "Hey, we saw Gremlins. What if we just took a movie and we got elves? Somehow they come to life. They're the bad guys."
Yeah.
They had to come up with the most insane, convoluted plot that you've ever heard of, and it's worth watching.
Oh, I love it.
Grizzly Adams is just like
this is a so bad it's good movie.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah. Grizzly Adams never stopped smoking cigarettes throughout the entire movie.
He gets in trouble for it at the hospital.
He's literally just smoking the entire time.
And if you don't know who Grizzly Adams is, I just snatched a piece of fur out of the air.
He had a beard.
No, if you don't know who Grizzly Adams was, is because he was a television show called
Grizzly Adams.
Right. Dan Haggerty was Grizzly Adams.
Haggerty, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think he did this movie in 1989 because this is his post Grizzly Adams career, and I think he got into some kind of legal trouble, so I think he was just kind of doing whatever people threw at him, which would explain why he was in this Elvis movie, which I own a copy of the soundtrack on cassette that our friends at TerraVision put out.
Yeah, TerraVision. We always got to give it up to those people, man. They are a small independent company that's really starting to grow. It's like when you first started seeing Fright Rag shirts at like conventions.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is amazing. Nobody's doing this kind of high quality releases for horror. And TerraVision is now doing that with soundtracks
they're starting to do movies now too. Yeah. I think they just put out a movie called Santa Claus, Claus, that was released in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's another so bad. It's basically like softcore porn with a Santa theme, and a horror theme.
Great.
Yeah.
Maniac Cop 2.
Maniac
is that on your list?
I didn't put it on my list.
It shouldn't be on anybody's list.
But
I love that movie because it's also not great. But
I like it. I like it better than the first one.
It's one of those weird sequels where like the original film isn't really slapsticky, kind of like campy. I mean, besides Bruce Campbell's acting, but this one, it just they start to like, okay,
yeah,
let's do Return to Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
With Maniac Cop.
I like 2 and 3 better than the first one.
They're a lot more fun. They're more digestible. It's the sequel. The bane of my sequels is like, let's make the sequels less like the original.
Yeah, it's not as serious.
No.
It also, to bring it back to our Felissa Rose event, this also has what's his name's dad from Star Wars. Fucking God, what's his fucking name?
Talking about Muhammad Ali, but Darth Vader's dad.
Darth Vader's dad.
Yeah. Who
was in sleepaway camp as one of the cooks. He is like the newspaper salesman guy in Maniac Cop 2, and I think it was the last movie he ever did. because he was pretty old by the time Sleepaway Camp came out, and this was like 8 years later or something. So
it seems like it.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, that was the last movie he ever did. Robert Earl Jones. There it is.
Robert Earl Jones.
Robert Earl Jones.
And Robert Zadar.
And Robbie Zadar.
And Bruce Campbell didn't last very long in this movie, and I was kind of excited because at this time I had discovered who Bruce Campbell was, and I was like excited for him to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't make it past like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's like he was just in there because they were like, well, you lived through the last one. We got to explain how you died real quick.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's see. You skipped right over Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
Did I?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't really need to. It's fine. You can watch our episode about it, but it's okay.
All of the rest of the sequels for Silent Night, Deadly Night are not bad movies.
Yeah.
The Toymaker is actually pretty good. I like that one.
Toymaker I liked. 4 had the weird body horror thing.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So no, I didn't skip over it on accident.
Well, they got Omen 4 on here, which I've never even watched.
I have watched it. I just don't remember being a Christmas movie.
It's a TV movie.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm going to revisit it. There's a certain amount of sequels I'll only go back. Like, I own all of the Prophecy movies, and I still have only seen the first 2.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. They originally, I think, Dimension or whoever owns them now, but they put them out on a double disc DVDs with Hellraiser and the Prophecy movies.
I have some
Dimension
Prophecy sequels. I have 2 of those sequels because I bought a copy of Poltergeist 1 and 2 on DVD and didn't bother to open it up and see what was inside to make sure it was the right disc, and I got it, and it had Prophecy 2 and 3 inside.
There's a whole list of movies that we don't even need to discuss. And I remember for Christmas, Day of the Beast actually is fucking rad.
Yeah.
If you've never seen that movie, heavy metal soundtrack, kick-ass movie. I don't know. Where do you want to go after this, man?
Well, I'll tell you, Nightmare Before Christmas, not a fan. Don't care about it. Don't ever want to watch it.
And
people,
super sick.
My wife loves it. So if she watches this, she'll probably like hit me on the arm or something while we watch this together. But I've never liked that movie. I didn't like it when I was a kid. I'm the perfect age group for it. I think I just got beat over the head with it by it's just like a Hot Topic movie at this point. And I'm like pissing people off.
That's definitely where it's at now. And I don't mean it because the Hot Topic crowd. I mean, I don't have a problem with that way to describe it. But like now it's in every Walgreens.
Yeah.
When Walgreens picked it up, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like snow globes. And like there's some things I'd never seen when it first came out. And now that Spirit has picked it up,
it's
like that and Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Like I appreciate it. A lot of hard work went into that. I love all the stop motion stuff. Yeah. I think everybody that came up with that are marketing geniuses because they basically have cashed in on 2 different holidays. But
I appreciate it. My nose won't stop. Maybe this fur coat was better. I appreciate when it came out. I freaking loved it because it was stop motion. It was Halloween and Christmas. I love both of those kind of holidays. I love Tim Burton and I love Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Danny Elfman's
all that together,
awesome.
And it was great.
Yeah,
I have not watched it since I saw it in the theater when it came back out in 3D.
Yeah,
and the 3D was not great. The best part of the movie in 3D was the introduction of the movie being in 3D, and then once the movie started, I was like, that's not bad.
Yeah,
because it was when they first started trying to like transfer old movies into 3D. They don't have the technology. Now they have the technology. They didn't have it then.
Yeah.
So there's my Nightmare Before Christmas. Fuck you, Ace.
Yeah. It's, it's cute and whimsical, which are like 2 things that I do not look for in a movie. So, that's the movie I was talking about earlier, Santa Claus.
Well, this is not the one with Goldberg. This is the one.
A different one.
Is it Tiffany Shepis? Or no, Debbie Rochon.
Yeah.
Debbie Rochon was like a big thing in the underground cinema scenes for a while. She had done a couple maybe bigger horror films, but did a lot of movies with John Russo out of Pittsburgh and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I like the tagline that says, his sleigh bells are ringing. You get it?
No, you're dirty.
Like balls.
Got Jack Frost 2. Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman.
I just recently watched Jack Frost.
The first one?
The first one.
Yeah.
Recently. And
it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like it.
Some of the CG is a little wonky, but that's what, I mean, this is
think
a
that's
whole
what
bunch
they
of
were.
filmmaking.
Yeah.
Shannon Elizabeth is in that movie?
Yeah. Pre-American Pie, Shannon Elizabeth. That was one that if you never saw the movie, if you ever went to a video store in the 90s, you definitely saw that on the shelf with the lenticular cover, where it would like change from like the snowman to the evil snowman back and forth.
I love those lenticular
That's the
covers.
best.
I collect them, yeah.
And basically, I don't know why I never rented it, because as soon as you would pick that box up off the shelf and look on the back, there was literally like the shower scene with like Shane and Elizabeth right on the back of the
Being
box.
sucked into it, yeah.
So you knew you were going to get some nudity on it. I don't know why my 14-year-old moron idiot self didn't buy that back, or didn't rent it back then, but
did you like Santa's Sleigh with Goldberg?
I've only ever seen the beginning of it, which is the most...
It's surprisingly good.
Yeah, it's the most insane beginning to a movie ever.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, because the cover that they've been using for the last 10 years or so, it just sucks. It's just him going, oh. But
Yeah.
if you look at the original, like, painted, they actually took time and made
He's like falling out of the chimney.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, oh, this is awesome. I like horror movies and I like, Christmas horror films. And I was super surprised. And it's not completely stupid, but it's fun. It's like Tucker and Dale versus Evil for Christmas with Goldberg. That's not a really good way to describe this. I'll be back. What's your next favorite one? Ginger Dead Man.
Ginger Dead Man.
There's the remake to Black Christmas. I never heard of this movie called Wind Chill.
Yeah, this is... once you start getting into this, I think it's going to lose me on a lot of stuff. You have Ginger Dead Man 2, Passion of the Crust. I just see Gary Busey's teeth.
I love you, Charles Band. I hate you, Charles Band. Deadly Little Christmas, Silent Night, Zombie Night. And then
Rare Exports.
Rare Exports.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about it. I'll be right back.
Rare Exports.
Go ahead.
It is a Finnish fantasy action horror comedy. Everything you could ever want in a movie. No, this is one, I've seen this a couple times, mainly with a big group of people, but people, it's, God, I can't even begin to pronounce this Finnish name of this city on here, but
Just wing it.
About people living near Korvantunturi who discover the secret behind Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Look at that.
Look at this dumb fucking stack of shit that I pulled out of my closet. Actually, I just pulled it off the wall. Yeah, Rare Exports, and it's in here somewhere. I like Christmas horror films. Maniacs is on top. Child's Play. We missed Child's Play.
Child's Play. Does that? Oh yeah, he gets.
Shut the
does he get that
fuck
for his
up.
birthday or
It's for Christmas.
Yeah.
Actually, it is his birthday.
He gets it for his birthday.
It's one of those shitty things where it's like your birthday and Christmas, so your mom and dad has to choose.
Oh yeah.
Rich.
Yeah.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. All the creatures were stirring. Better watch out. A Christmas horror story. I think we'll just do this. We'll just look at this and go, yeah, it's not bad. Scrooged. We fucking forgot Scrooged.
Oh yeah.
It's right here on VHS.
I have. Yeah. I put Scrooged on my other list because it's considered a comedy, but honestly, there's some horror elements to that.
Right.
I rented Scrooged when I was probably like 10 years old because I saw Bill Murray's face on the front.
The night the reindeer died.
Yeah. And I loved Ghostbusters, and I was like, wow, this has got to be good.
Yeah.
And I rented it, and his boss comes out when he's like dead, and like the mouse crawls out of the back of his head.
A worm feast.
Yeah. Like I was like, that actually kind of scared me as a kid. Cause he's just like dead and he takes his glasses off and he's like, the eyes are all like gone.
Like,
and like, yeah, I was like, that's creepy. And then the fucking Ghost of Christmas Future, the big Grim Reaper.
It's death.
That scared me too as a kid.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's huge.
And I'm like, I was just sitting there like, where's the comedy?
That was one of the Scrooge is one of those movies that's kind of done like came back, but not because of like Spirit Halloween. It's because it's fucking good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. It did not do well at the theater.
Yeah, it's another, like, I think it makes it a really good movie for me because it's real quotable. Because you have like, the part where he's like, I care, like that.
Have you tried Staples?
Yeah.
All the fake trailers way before Grindhouse.
Oh yeah, the one with like the night the reindeer died,
It's
like
Lee Majors.
and like the thing about they have the Scrooge, they're playing like Scrooge, and it's like highway killers, and it's like a dude coming out of acid rain, terrorism, and it's literally a plane taking off and exploding.
And Bobcat Goldthwait. My God, you look like the Manson Family Christmas special.
Yeah, that movie is really funny, and you got David Johansen as the Ghost of Christmas Past.
If you don't know who that is, come on, man.
New York Dolls.
New York Dolls.
But yeah, he has another quote where he's just like, "Waterfalls, Frankie Angel."
Yeah. Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah.
Go back to Jersey, you moron.
Yeah. Like,
If you don't know what we're doing, we're just quoting this guy.
Yeah,
We should
yeah,
probably stop because people are like, "This is dumb."
but just go watch Scrooge. If you never watched Scrooge, like you need to watch it. It's a horror. I would consider it like a kind of like a black comedy.
Yeah, I've got Supernatural because Supernatural did a Krampus episode, and I'm actually not going to spoil the episode, but there's got to be a bunch of Supernatural fans out there. They did a Krampus episode that made me happy. I've got the Munsters, Scary Little Christmas. We've talked about it before because we talked about it on the Munster episode with Chris Johnson was on the episode. This is. I was comparing like the new Rob Zombie movie, like, oh, it's so campy and shitty and bad. I'm like, what Munsters show or movie have you not seen? It's not like that.
Yeah.
This one is just like the Rob Zombie movie. A little bit shorter, and it's got Mary Warrenov in it.
Yeah.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The great thing about this DVD, this is the deluxe version that came out. It's got a special that came out on TNT with Phil Hartman when he was still alive, doing a whole like making of.
Nice.
And it's got interviews. It's great. Child's Play is a Christmas movie. Let's see. All the Creatures Were Stirring. Have you seen this one?
I have not seen that.
It's another horror anthology. Really good. Black Xmas.
Xmas.
Dun, 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 dun. Better watch out.
I haven't watched that, but I did watch we played a trailer of it the other night at Gore Club.
Yeah. I can't.
And it looked really good.
I'm not going to spoil it. If you haven't seen it, throw this thing in the, it's streaming, but throw it in the Blu-ray player. It's really good, really well made. Back down to rare export. This is the original Blu-ray or DVD they put out. It reminds me of like the ending. This is like a really somber kind of dark movie. And then it turns into like Demons or Evil Dead 2 at the end.
Yeah, like Trap Santa Claus or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. A Christmas. This is actually the Walmart version, the Holiday Horror Story. Another anthology wraparound, but it's really the best story is the Krampus one.
Yeah.
With William Shatner and all that. And then, of course, we got to talk about Krampus.
The naughty cut.
This is the uncut naughty cut of Krampus, Michael Dougherty. What do you want to talk about?
I liked it. It was all right. I like Krampus. I never watched it originally when it came out.
Yeah.
But after the last few years watching, I was like, yeah, that can be like a come into my rotation every year.
Well, he was trying to make. This is the guy who made Trick or Treat, with Sam, and he also did Godzilla King of the Monsters. But he was trying to make like a movie like Gremlins in a way, like horror family sort of thing, and it works, I think. Now there's a shit ton. Oh look, my version of Elves and Scrooged.
Look at that cover.
We'll talk about this in a second. Silent Night remake. Salem's Lot is a Christmas movie. The remake of Salem's Lot technically is. There's a whole bunch.
That came on. Was that a TNT original? Yeah, I think it looks like a TNT original when you watch it.
I don't know what it is about that the guy who made it. I dig it. I just hate the CG fangs. There's a lot of little things I don't like, but it was one of those movies that I kept trying to like. I was like, man, I like that though. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like overall. It's bad. I'm really excited for the remake coming out sometime.
Yeah.
They're doing a whole. They've remade the Salem's Lot.
Yeah. For a third time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now these low budget Christmas slasher movies, and he's got like this one's called Once Upon a Time at Christmas. This guy, I'm actually friends with him on Instagram, so that means we're buds, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I follow them, and it's like Santa and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Pretty much they're like psychopaths. What else? And I've got every shitty fucking Krampus movie that's ever been put out.
Oh yeah,
on DVD.
Yeah, I think you had one like Mother Krampus.
Those are bad. There's two
awful.
of them, by the way. They're probably making a third. Oh my god!
I put there's a couple on mine that don't. This is like I mentioned earlier. They don't necessarily take place on Christmas, but like The Shining. It's not a Christmas movie, but
it's like The Thing.
Yeah, in 1998, my mom bought me a copy of The Shining on VHS for Christmas, and I remember watching it with her, and then. Not with her. I was watching it, and then her and my sister kind of like came in the room. Was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, The Shining." And then it happened to be right at the time when that old woman's coming up out of the bathtub. She was like, wow. "I can't believe I bought this for you." I was like, "I didn't know."
That was your Shining story.
But I did know because I read the book when I was in the 7th grade and knew that scene was in there somewhere.
Yeah. So you were sweating as it was happening.
I was just like, "Please leave the room."
Here's actually a Christmas movie horror film that has nothing to do with Krampus, because now Krampus is super fashionable, and it's just like they're trying to. I should make an entire podcast episode just why I hate Krampus movies, because they fuck it up every time. Yeah. So, anyways, this one is called Wendigo. Wendigo. It's really good, man. Who the fuck? Larry Fessenden directed this. He was it Glass Eye Pix? I can't remember. He has his own production company. He did a vampire, like an independent vampire movie. He did I think a werewolf movie, and then he did this movie. It's Wendigo, and this is the first time I'd even heard of what a Wendigo is, and now it's kind of the same thing. It's it's the big horned monster, like antler monster out in the woods that's gonna get you. Wendigo.
It's actually kind of terrifying if you think of a Wendigo, if you ever seen one.
Low budget, but fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Wendigo. I've got Damien the Omen too as a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I put Innocent Blood on my list.
Fuck yes.
Because it takes place, it's like...
I'm so mad that's not on this list.
The whole movie is super snowy. It's cold.
It's Christmas. Everything's decorated.
It's all light. Yeah, everything's decorated.
Pittsburgh.
That's what I call it. French vampire in Pittsburgh.
Well, what else is on your list, man? Hit it.
Oh, also with Innocent Blood, it's like... I also call it a French vampire in Pittsburgh. It's also like... The Sopranos with vampires. It's like half the cast of The Sopranos is in that movie.
Yeah,
like pre-Sopranos, and then you got Robert Loggia just like chewing up the scenery in every scene.
He's playing the same character he played in Lost Highway.
Yeah, and he's just in there like, yeah, like the whole time with that voice. Amazing movie, John Landis. If you've never seen that, you can probably find it in the $5 bin at any half-price books.
When I first saw it, I wasn't as impressed because I wanted it to be a vampire version of An American Werewolf in London, because it is directed by John Landis.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. But when I went back and I found it at the video store and I watched it again, I was like, man, this is good. Plus, it's got some good butt.
Yeah. Yeah. She's hot.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
There was I put on here that movie we watched recently, Christmas, Bloody Christmas.
That's a brand new release, too.
Yeah.
And came out last week or week before.
I didn't really have high hopes for it because I was just like, another Christmas movie. But we started watching it, and I was like, shit, this is pretty good.
It's really good. We talked about it. One of our favorite films, Ace and I, is Hardware.
Yeah.
Peter Stanley, or whatever his name is. Yeah. Oh, my God, what's his fucking name? Richard Stanley, not Peter Stanley. Richard Stanley came out, and he made it's one of his first movies, but it's very similar to that. It's like Terminator, Hardware, what else? Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah.
It is a killer. It's another killer Santa Claus movie, but this one's like goddamn like...
It's a robot.
It's a cyborg from hell that it was an animatronic in a toy store.
Yeah, and it somehow comes to life.
Yeah, I missed that plot because it was really loud that night and everybody was rocking. But
they have, it's got like a... the guy who directed it also did that movie VFW.
Oh, that movie rules.
Yeah. So same dude, Joe Begos. I probably butchered that name.
I think they're used to me talking, and I suck at everything.
Yeah, I almost said Jeff Begos. Jeff Bezos. Joe Begos.
Movie.
Yeah. Some people say it has kind of like a Rob Zombie vibe, but mainly it's got that dude Jeff Daniel Phillips in it.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
I think it's just because the plot, a lot of the dialogue is just people like, "Hey, fuckity fuck, motherfuck," like the whole time.
They don't have the same. They don't sound like Sherry Moon.
Yeah,
the girl can act,
and it's got a legit like metal soundtrack too, because it's got the bands Isis, Thou, Earthless. She's got like a cephalic carnage patch on her vest. She got a death shirt. Yeah.
Like when we were watching Deathgasm. We're like, check that out.
Yeah. Like it has some legit stuff in it. Whoever did the set decoration and costumes like knew their shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, it's pretty good. Plus when the Santa's eyes turn into like those green lasers at the end, like I was just like, I'm a sucker for that. It's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. And he just keeps coming. It's like the Terminator. There's even scenes just like the Terminator where she's crawling, he's right behind her. But I guess that's our holiday horror episode.
Well, I put one bonus.
Oh, maybe not.
I put one bonus thing at the end of mine.
What is it?
Because I was like thinking of something like everything on here is like, Santa Claus. It gets
old.
So there's one book, not even a movie. I know we're a movie-based podcast, but there was a book from my childhood called Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins. And the whole reason I checked it out from the library, because I was like, I just saw the goblins in it. And it had like the illustrations are amazing, and it's this. It's based on like an old Jewish folk hero, and he's considered like a trickster named Herschel of Ostropol. And basically, he has to challenge and defeat through a guile, it's Herschel challenging and defeating through guile a series of goblins over the course of 8 nights of Hanukkah, culminating in a showdown with the king of the goblins himself on the final night of Hanukkah, which makes it sounds amazing. And like when you see at the end of it, and he's like, there's like the king of the goblins in the doorway, and it's this big giant guy. Like, I don't know, like, I didn't know growing up in a little redneck town, I didn't know much about Hanukkah. So for a little while, I literally thought this was Hanukkah.
Holy shit.
Where I was like, this is all about goblins and stuff? Like, this sounds amazing.
I want to get one of those candelabras.
Yeah, and then my mom was like, no, this is just a story. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Well, either way, it's just like a really great movie, it's a really great book. I wish somebody would make this a movie.
I was thinking, man.
It's, God, if you can find copies of it around. It has all the artwork in it is amazing. It's like a children's book, but it's like very well written. I think it won a bunch of awards and stuff. But I was trying to think, like, there's got to be some other Christmas kind of horror themed kind of thing that's not just Santa Claus. And that was the one thing I thought of.
Yeah, that's why I was like apprehensive to show, not to just watch, but show the Christmas Bloody Christmas. But surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah.
With the production value, how they could, shooting, everything about it. Was great.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Somebody needs to buy that fucking book.
I know. I don't know how that's not a movie yet. Like, it's amazing. Like, if you get done watching this or whatever, just Google that, look it up. It's amazing. Great illustration. All the goblins in it look insane and terrifying. I can't believe it was a children's book, honestly. Like, because it kind of scared me reading it as a kid.
Well, at one time, children's books were supposed to be like morality tales. Like, and
it is. Yeah, he's doing good things and he defeats the evil.
It's a Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah,
fairy tale.
It's really good.
So, anyways, well, that was great, man. Thank you guys, and if you can, just give us a little like and subscribe, and maybe even share. That means the world to us YouTube creators and podcast creators. You would never understand how simple it is and how much it means to us, and it keeps us going. So,
yeah.
Thanks for tuning into the Gore Club podcast.
It's Christmas, damn it.
Christmas, damn it. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. Sweet. All right. Thank you. All right.